हेलो एंड गुड इवनिंग। आप देख रहे हैं द पॉलिसी टाइम्स, वर्ल्ड्स फर्स्ट पॉलिसी एंड डेवलपमेंट मीडिया। पॉलिसी टाइम्स पिछले 4 साल से लगातार 8 कोर सेक्टरों में वेबिनार्स, प्रोग्राम्स, सेमिनार्स और टॉक शोज ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं। और उस टॉक शो और प्रोग्राम्स के सिर्फ एक ही मिशन है कि उस टॉक शो और प्रोग्राम के जरिए हम किस तरह से लाइक माइंडेड लोगों को एक सिंगल प्लेटफॉर्म में लेके आए और लाने के बाद उनके जरिए किस तरह से हम उस सेक्टर में इतना कंट्रीब्यूट करें कि ऑल टुगेदर इंडिया कैन बिकम वन ऑफ द मोस्ट प्रॉस्पेरस नेशंस ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। ई लर्निंग पिछले 2 साल में पेंडेमिक ने सबसे ज्यादा किसी सेक्टर में अगर इम्पैक्ट किया है, दैट इज द एजुकेशन सेक्टर। नाउ द पॉजिटिव आउटकम ऑफ द पेंडेमिक डिसरप्शन was the rise of e-learning. We saw in last 5 to 6 years कि किस तरह से edutech companies, खास करके बैंगलोर, क्योंकि इंडिया का सिलिकॉन वैली है, और across इंडिया मशरूम किए हैं। And today a large number of students are totally dependent on the edutech companies and e-learning platforms and taking huge advantage of that. अब कुछ e-learning platforms expensive है, कुछ अफोर्डेबल है, रीजनेबल है, और गांव गांव तक क्वालिटी एजुकेशन पहुंचा पाया है। लेकिन जो ई लर्निंग प्लेटफॉर्म के नाम पे आज हम देख रहे हैं, ज्यादातर स्कूल्स, कॉलेजेस, यूनिवर्सिटीज जूम मीटिंग करा रही है, अलग अलग इनोवेटिव और एडवांस सिस्टम्स आया है, और मोड ऑफ एजुकेशन आए हैं। नाउ वी हैव स्टार्टेड materializing, realizing very complete diverse kind of content for our students. Today we are more in a position to unleash the talent of our individual students. तो ये सारा जो हुआ है, क्या ये एंड स्टेज है या अर्ली स्टेज है ई लर्निंग के? ई लर्निंग और क्या डिसरप्शन और चेंज लाने वाला है? आज हम बात कर रहे हैं 2021 के सेकेंड हाफ का। जब 10 साल या 20 साल बाद ई लर्निंग कैसे होगा, दूसरे देशों में ई लर्निंग क्या है, ई लर्निंग जो सिस्टम है वो जो हमारा नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है और उसके जो मोड्स हैं और प्रोसेस हैं और जो सिलेबस है वो उसको किस तरह से अडॉप्ट कर पाए हैं, इसकी पॉसिबिलिटीज, प्रायोरिटीज और चैलेंजेस पे हम चर्चा करेंगे। और चर्चा करने के लिए हमारे साथ दो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एक्सपर्ट हैं। मैं स्वागत करना चाहता हूं जय यापिन जी को। जय जी द फाउंडर एंड चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑफिसर ऑफ ब्राइट कैम्प, which is a digital marketplace of unleashing or harnessing the talent across India. We have Sagar Thakeji. Sagar ji is the founder and CEO of T Education, Teducation actually we call it, and then he's also an academy educator. He's teaching IIT, JEE students and many other students abroad. So मैं सबसे पहले स्वागत करना चाहूंगा हमारे दोनों एक्सपर्ट को। और फर्स्ट मैं हमारे दोनों एक्सपर्ट को आई रिक्वेस्ट kindly give your short introduction, your success, your achievement and professional journey before we start the conversation. So I would first request Jay to kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Akram, for this opportunity. So this is Jay Epan here. I have about 22 years of experience. Initial 10 years I have been there in the corporate world, worked with companies like Deloitte, EY, JP Morgan, more on the transaction advisory side. Have been doing financial valuation, business valuation, primarily in the area of mergers and acquisition. Uske baad, the last 12 years, it has been more of a entrepreneurial journey, which has been a good roller coaster ride, wherein I've done a couple of startups, lot of learnings through all the failures and challenges. Yeah, little bit of successes, nothing much to kind of boast about or talk about. But having said all that, the last 12 years has been an amazingly learning journey, wherein I learned the tough way in terms of क्या क्या नहीं करना है, क्या करने से भी ज्यादा, to be very honest. So primarily it has been focused on the edtech space. So have been there in the higher education space for quite a while, and right now in the K12 segment. So by and large have understood a bit and seen a bit through just journey of the last 10, 12 years in terms of what the education segment has been working very, very closely with respect to having my skin in the game with respect to my own startup. So has been pretty revealing with respect to how the sector behaves because standing outside, you feel that things are in a different way and things are happening in a way. But once you get into it and do a deep dive, then only you realize how far we have matured or not matured, or what are the opportunities. And one thing with respect to the entire 12 years of my journey, 12 plus years of journey uh, in the edtech space, I would say that there is enough and more of opportunity out there. It all depends upon our outlook and our approach in terms of how we would like to kind of visualize and see at things. And definitely, given the pandemic times, things have changed. There is a huge amount of opportunity which has opened up, and the fact and the data speak all by itself. Over the last 1.5, 2 years, you would have noticed that there has been four unicorns in the edtech space, which has mushroomed. Very lately, there was the fourth one, which came up, and it's just matter of time. And never ever, I don't think anybody would have thought that in India or from India, so many edtech startups would come up. Okay, so it need not, you need not be an Amazon, you need not be a Google to always have those kind of unicorns coming up. And by and large, if you look at the majority of the unicorns which has happened, they all started off from scratch and they have come up the ground up way. Okay, so नेट नेट मतलब किसी को भी ये सोचने की ये जरूरत है नहीं कि मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है, मेरे पास ये चैलेंजेस है, मतलब मैं कुछ कर सकता हूँ या कर सकती हूँ, यू नो, इट्स ऑल अ माइंड गेम. माइंड को अगर आपकी क्लियर हो, आपको पता है कि मतलब कोई रॉकेट साइंस वाली चीज करने की जरूरत भी नहीं है. जस्ट ट्राई टू मेक द लाइफ सिंपल. कुछ नहीं है, सिंपल सा अगर मैं एक एग्जांपल ले लो, फ्लिप क्लासरूम को अगर बकायदा अगर आप कर लो तो दैट्स इनफ एंड मोर ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी. ओके, हर चीज क्लासरूम में ही क्यों पढ़ाया जाए, उसको रिकॉर्ड करके दे दो ना, बच्चे घर पे पढ़ लेने दो, और रियल लाइफ एग्जांपल्स वो क्लास में करे. So I am just citing one quick example. So by and large, this is what my experience and journey has been. And yes, this is just the introduction. Maybe over a period, I will share my experiences and my 2 cents to the entire thing with respect to the edtech space in terms of the various opportunities and the uh, chances available for each and every individual of around who is listening to it and who is not listening also. The only thing is, yes, you want to jump onto the entrepreneurial bandwagon and want to make a difference. End of the day, ठीक है, पैसे बने नहीं बने वो बात की बात है. पहली की बात, you want to make sure that you want to add value to the stakeholders. If that is the primary motto, definitely yes, there is a long way to go, and definitely there is a whole world of opportunity that can open up. Thank you so much. Probably I'll catch up in a while.
Thank you so much. I'll come to Sagar. Sagar, a brief introduction. We can't hear you, Sagar. You are not audible. I think your voice was earlier okay.
Audible now?
Yeah. Now.
Yes, you're fine. Okay, so this is Sagar Thakkar, this site. I am founder and CEO of Education, and along with that, I am presently working as an academy educator for CAT category. So I teach for CAT, which is an MBA entrance examination, mostly renowned for the IIM entrances. And in back, I have also taught for the IIT JEE, like in the branch Career Point as well, and many other brands. And I also have one startup that is called education.com. Other startup I do have for in the sports nutrition brand, just like the Muscle Blaze and on and everything. So we make the proteins and everything for the athletes and the gymnast and whosoever person is going to the gym and everything. In the month of last April and May, Google and CNBC TV conducted a meet of India's 50 CEOs, where they gathered 50 CEOs of India, this shortlisted 50 CEOs of India who are working on some different projects like innovatives and everything. So out of those 50 CEOs, I also got the honorable part to become a part of that. At that time, the speakers were Ravindran Baiju and Google Vice President and Google India President and everyone. So I have done something like this, and also in the past years, I have been from zero to a millionaire, then again to some bankruptcy in last December 2019, and then again achieving something like this with the help of an academy. Because as we are discussing today on the e-learning, that how e-learning has changed, how edtech has changed. One of the major sectors, as Jay sir said, that four unicorns have come up, and one of them is the Academy, which is valued at 3.44 billion valuation right now. And the platform is helping the learners to learn for every entrance examination, and not only entrance examination, from class 6th we are helping. So, and not only that, our CEO's main intention for the Academy is to give the cheaper education and the quality education. So we are now among all, we are everywhere in the every city. So an academy is playing along with the unicorns like Baiju's and Vedantu and everyone. But yes, so this is my journey, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Sagarji and Jay, for your brief introduction. And that shows you do how do edupreneurs look like. You know, it's always a roller coaster journey. It's never smooth and plain. It's about a lot of up and down. Now, with your experience, that now let us get into the topic. The topic is how are we going to see the e-learning platform or e-learning sector going to emerge in future, and also based on your experience, because you saw pre-COVID education system and now post-COVID education system, which is yet to emerge. So how are we going to see that the e-learning platform that we see today, what should be the shape 20 years down the line? And how do we, because this is the era of individuals, you know, now we unleash individual potential. Technology is helping us to reach out to the to customize format where we can judge, evaluate the talent, the creative skills of an individual. How do we unleash that? And we give them an opportunity to explore their potential in this, in a true sense. So again, Jay.
Okay, fine then. Thank you so much. So glad to come back on the topic and speak around these lines with respect to what are the possibilities, priorities, and challenges on the e-learning space post-pandemic. So before I get there, I just wanted to kind of quickly kind of give a bit of background. So today we have been speaking about learning, and primarily the way we have kind of been brought up, or our upbringing always focuses on pure play academics. When I mean pure play academics, it focuses on the STEM form of education. Majority of the time, that is, you are in the Indian parlance, if I'll have to say that, it has to be science and maths. So since from a young age, everybody says that, starting from parents to that, beta खेल कूद बाजू रखो या आपके बाकी सब एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज बाजू रखो, साइंस एंड मैथ्स पे फोकस कीजिएगा. So there's nothing wrong about it. Unfortunately, that's how basically our upbringing has been. So बचपन से ही बोला जाता है कि बेटा इंजीनियर या डॉक्टर बनो, नहीं तो सिविल सर्वेंट बनिए. वो रही आपके साइंस एंड ये आर्ट्स स्ट्रीम, नहीं तो फिर आप जाके एक चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट बन जाओ. बट व्हाट आई एम बेसिकली सेइंग इज, though West has kind of shown us the way, in the same way, why can't we start looking at and look at a child from a wholesome standpoint in terms of, ठीक है बच्चे हर बार पढ़ाई लिखाई में मतलब अव्वल उतरने की जरूरत नहीं है, but there are kids who have wonderful talent in and around various other things as well. When I mean various other things, they can be good at creative arts. Creative arts is a very vast topic. It can be one or the other art or craft or painting or calligraphy, so on and so forth. It can be even performing arts, Okay, when it means performing arts can be singing, dancing, stand-up comedy, so on and so forth. नहीं तो फिर sports के area में हो सकती है. Just think about it. Indian population, we are the second largest population in the world. But today, if you look at our performance when it comes to various international level sports arena like Olympics, where do we stand? Is it that we do have a dearth of talent? Trust me, I can bet on that it is not that we don't have talent, लेकिन वो talent को प्रोत्साहित किया नहीं जाता है at the right time. At a very young age, बच्चों को हर बार मतलब at least with middle class and a higher middle class segment, it's the typical way that बेटा खेल कूद सब बाजू रखो और कुछ नहीं करनी है, आपको पढ़ाई करनी है. पढ़ाई करो तो फिर आप इंजीनियर डॉक्टर बनोगे. That is what your career is going to be. उसमें कोई खामी नहीं है. I'm not saying that is wrong, but what I'm basically saying is बच्चे में और कोई अगर टैलेंट हो तो उसको as parents या as teachers हमें प्रोत्साहित करनी है. हम अगर प्रोत्साहित ना करें, वो बच्चा ऑटोमेटिकली सोचेगा कि भाई मतलब ठीक है पढ़ाई लिखाई है, that is how my life is going to be. Basically what we are doing is we are clipping the wings. So when kids are young, they are ready to fly in whichever directions they want. But unfortunately, as parents or probably as teachers, we look at clipping their wings at a very young and tender age, and they aren't able to fly and they just take the same direction. मतलब it's as good as मतलब आप खूंटे में कोई भी ये इसको बांध दो ना, मतलब गाय को या जो भी हो, गोल 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 घूम के उसको लगेगा वही यही मेरा रास्ता है, इससे बाहर मैं और कुछ भी नहीं कर सकता हूँ. मतलब जैसे वो हाथी का बच्चे का जो एग्जाम्पल है, उसके पैर में चेन आप बांध दिए, पहले मोटी सी चेन बांधते, उसके बाद एक पतला सा डोरी से भी वो उसी के चारों तरफ घूमते रहता है. So by and large, what I am basically saying is there is enough and more of talent. So I mentioned about performing arts, creative arts, sports. In the same way, somebody might be looking at who wants to do something good for the environment. किसको मतलब बहुत छोटे बच्चों को मैं देखा हूँ, मतलब they want to make sure that भाई कचरा कचरे के जगह पे जाए, मतलब सब क्लीन रहे. Some kids wants to do something good for the community service करना चाहते हैं. क्यों ना हम उनको प्रोत्साहित करें. Maybe there are so many Mother Teresas which can come up from the nation. Why can't we look at encouraging that? I'm really sorry, I'm taking a bit different topic, but I think that this is a topic which has to be touched upon. Now, why I am touching upon this is basically Bright Camp as a platform is a platform through which we are looking at digitizing and trying to discover all of this talent in some way or the other, how the parents and the teachers and the society by and large can look at understanding by virtue of students being able to go ahead and make the e-portfolio. So CBSE has mandated it that every student, if not in the younger age, at least in the 9th and 10th, they are required to make their portfolio. So what we are basically saying is our tool, Bright Camp as a tool, allows the student to go ahead and aggregate all their achievement in such a manner wherein they will be able to make sure that in a very chronological manner they have all their achievements outside academics. क्योंकि academics any which ways स्कूल की रिपोर्ट कार्ड या मतलब उनका जो मार्कशीट है उसमें बकायदा सब उनकी academic performance निकल के आती है. So that goes without saying, no questions asked there. But outside that, how do we look at discovering? दो स्कूल में कुछ छोटे थोड़ी बहुत एक्टिविटीज होती होगी, बट स्कूल के अलावा भी बच्चे बहुत सारे कुछ चीज करते होंगे ना. सो उसको हम अगर डिस्कवर कर पाए, उनको सही मायने में सही एंगल में अगर कर पाए, तो आई एम श्योर दैट इन ओलंपिक्स we will be able to fare much better. Okay, I'm just taking a random example because Olympics is something which just went by very recently. In the same way, when I like that goes about all the extracurricular activities and with respect to what Bright Camp is doing. So I will encourage that if there are any schools or any parents, they can look at going ahead and utilizing this platform for the children to build their portfolio. Now, having said that, on the academic side, I do see quite a good amount of change which can happen and things would happen. The other day, I was speaking with one of the lower rank IITs. Okay, they were saying that, sir, मतलब बाकी सब solution छोड़ दीजिए, मतलब अभी क्या है, बच्चे लोग को practically, मतलब though they are part of an elite institution like IIT, but unfortunately physically I cannot go ahead and showcase, say, people who are doing mechanical. यार मैकेनिकल उन लोगों को लेथ मशीन दिख ही नहीं रही है, उनको पता भी नहीं है कैसे क्या ऑपरेट करनी है. आई एम जस्ट गिविंग वन क्विक रैंडम एग्जांपल. इन द सेम वे ऑटोमोबाइल साइड में हो, सो AR VR यूज करके, मतलब इफ समबडी कैन put in that effort, I'm just throwing in some random ideas. Okay, AR VR करके अगर रिकॉर्ड करके अगर उन लोग बता सकते हैं कहाँ पे क्या है क्या नहीं है, and if all of this can become a repository, definitely they can kind of look at coming up with something like a Khan Academy, wherein for engineering students there are a lot of things. In the same way, say agar history or geography agar sikhani ho, why don't somebody look at going ahead and recording all of this and putting it together in a chronological manner, in terms of saying that theek hai, Delhi aap gaye, to these are the various things that you should be looking at, and historically this is the background. So I'm just throwing some random ideas. In the same way, flipped classroom is another thing which I'm sure that it's just matter of time which would come up, wherein typically what happens is we go to the school. In the school, typically the concepts are theory and the concepts are taught, and बच्चा वही पढ़ाई करता है, घर पे आके वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करते हैं. हम क्या बोल रहे हैं, उसको पूरे फ्लिप कर दो ना, कंसेप्ट्स एंड थ्योरीज आप उनको रिकॉर्ड करके दे दीजिए, बच्चा घर पे देख के आएगा. क्लास में आप प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करो, मेक इट मोर एक्साइटिंग, मेक इट मोर फन, let them go ahead and do that. So these are the various possibilities and opportunities which would kind of open up in the near future. So I'm sure that India has a hell lot of innovative mind, and which is literally kind of showing up. And I don't want to talk about nations, but yes, it's a blessing in disguise. China में जो भी हो रही है in terms of, मतलब lot of edtech companies have gone fat, okay, and that by and large means that there's a lot of global concentration on India as a market, as well as the neutral stand that India has taken, and the way the international policies are kind of being driven by the government. So a sizable amount of focus is here, and there is enough and more of disruption which is kind of going to happen, and which will definitely happen. Though in the higher education, we have seen a lot of companies coming up. Byju's is a classic example on the K12 segment, but K12 segment, it's just the tip of the iceberg. There is a lot of other things which can be done, and especially with when it comes to the homeschooling में अभी भी NEP की तरफ से ज़्यादा कुछ policies नहीं है. Now, once that kind of opens up, and it's like a kind of a Pandora box which will open up with respect to the various opportunities which can come up in terms of, say, any one of the board ready to kind of go ahead and open up for a homeschooling kind of scenario. So those are my 2 cents and my observation with respect to the particular topic. Thank you so very much, Akram, and probably you can take it up from here.
Thank you so much, Jay, for again briefing. Wonderful thing. The last point that you mentioned is actually game changer. So K12 e-learning platform or Renaissance, whether we call it or not, is a debatable thing. It is just the tip of the iceberg. The iceberg is yet to come, because a large section of higher education is absolutely out of the reach of our edutech, because kids cannot go to school. So that is why up to K12 has emerged as the only e-learning phenomena. We will talk about that later. I will immediately go to Sagarji. Sagarji, your perspective on the topic. Please.
First of all,
yeah.
I would love to thank Jay sir, because whatever he has said as something extraordinary, and whatever I have come to know about his idea, I guess he's working on something very, very extraordinary. And उनका जो एक point था, mainly जो point that students and the kids should evolve on something like sports and everything, because we are lacking somewhere, and especially in Olympics or sports other than rather than cricket also. Because the only sport that is nationalized, that is मतलब क्या बोलते हैं, that has been celebrated is cricket. And we are celebrating the cricket more, we are worshipping, I would say, that cricket more than a god, which is nothing, मतलब कुछ गलत नहीं है उसमें. Everyone has some favorite sport, every country has some favorite sport, but I would suggest that ki we should focus on another sports also, we should focus on another athlete also, because China is a country which plays the sports only that are the part of Olympics. वो वही गेम खेलते हैं that are part of the Olympics. They don't focus on any other games that are not part of the Olympics or something like that. They focus only on the development. So we should also focus on the development. Like we should grow our child from the bottom, from the K12 age, right? है ना? और सर ने जैसे कभी एक पार्ट बोला कि K12 is basically more focused on, yes, it is more focused on. So we should more focus on the other sectors like UPSC and CAT and GPSC and other state examinations like CDS है, NDA है. So we should more focus on that as well. काफी जो सारे startups हैं that are coming up with this. Unacademy is also coming up with this. It's not like that I am the part of the Unacademy, so that's why I'm praising. But yes, the thing is that कि पहले क्या होता था कि अगर हमको K12 पढ़ना है, right? If we want to go to the IITs, then we'll search for the quota, and we will rush for the quota. And quota is a place where you need to spend in lakhs. अगर आप कोटा जाते हो 2 साल के लिए, तो you need to spend 4-5 lakh rupees, which is not affordable by everyone, right? To learn from the best educators, to get into the IITs. और वहाँ पे भी मतलब अगर आप कोटा जाके देखोगे, so there are more than 2.53 lakh students studying in Kota itself, and that becomes the pressurizing thing. मतलब एक I'm not मतलब मैं गलत नेगेटिव में नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, एक प्रैक्टिकल सिनेरियो बोलना चाह रहा हूँ. There are no disrespect from my side to anyone. And अगर हम लोग दूसरे एग्जाम्स की बात करें, like if you want to focus on UPSC, so students will like कि चलो दिल्ली चलते हैं, मुखर्जी नगर की तरफ चलते हैं ना. So वहाँ पे वो फोकस होता है दिल्ली में UPSC वगैरह का. अगर कैट है तो कोई एक अलग प्लेस है. So हमको एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म चाहिए था कि students can get everything on a single platform. That is what e-learning is basically about. तो वो Unacademy ने डेवलप किया है. एंड दूसरा एक हमारे पास सिनेरियो था कि स्टूडेंट्स आर वेर कंफ्यूज्ड अबाउट द डाउट्स, है ना, कि हम पढ़ तो रहे हैं सर, बट व्हाट अबाउट द डाउट्स? आवर डाउट्स आर सॉल्व्ड इन द लॉन्ग मैनर. So DoubtNet has also worked on that. You just click and you solve, and you get the video solution. Many other platforms are working on that. Unacademy is also working on that. There is another platform coming up, like ByteDance is also coming up with that. SnapSolve hai, InstaSolve hai. So these are the startups that are coming up, and that can be the next unicorns, just like the Byju's hai. So Byju's is now the world's most valued edtech company, and we are proud that the world's most valued edtech company is from India. That's great. And Unacademy hai, Vedantu hai, they are in the road of coming up in the unicorns and listed among the top edtech companies of the India. And just like Amazon is also there, Amazon Academy is also there, Mbibe is also coming up in the row. So these are the some edtechs that we should focus on, because the thing is that COVID-19 is not something temporary, है ना, कि भाई आज COVID-19 है, कल गायब हो जाएगा. Everything will normalize from tomorrow, or everything will normalize from after 5 months or 6 months. It is going to stay. We will pray that it goes away, but it's not like that. Practically talking about that, it will stay. So we should adapt that COVID is staying, and adapting that e-learning is the best thing to go for, because we'll save the money, we'll save our efforts of traveling. There is a safety of everything, especially talking about the girls. तो girls की safety भी यहाँ पे increase हो जाती है ना, because night stays and everything, night out, मतलब going out to the coming to the late from the coachings and everything. So that is also the one aspect that increases the adaptivity of e-learning as well. This is what I think. Rest over to you, sir. Back, Akram sir.
Thank you so much, Sagarji. Again, coming from the perspective how India I mean, this is one of the success stories should be written, that how Vaiju has become the world's most valued edutech company. I mean, that shows that India is creating now global level education platforms or e-learning platforms in the world. Now I'll come to the important part, which I would like to know from both of you is e-learning is at the very initial stage. I want to see that how this and pretty much e-learning is becoming boring to a large section of students. I'm talking about not like Vaiju or Wiser or An Academy or the big platforms, but a large number of students who are connected with Medium or startups or other kind of platforms. They are getting pretty much bored in terms of the model and delivery. What I want to know that why e-learning is going to stay for lifetime. What are the advantages of e-learning that students get, which you have slightly indirectly covered. Second, till what extent do you think e-learning will be attractive for students, or at what point do you think there is a saturation point for students to take advantage of it, and what will be the sync between physical education and e-learning going forward? There is no doubt that there is immense benefit of e-learning, but what will be the coexistence of both in long run? Then Vaiju has already proved that it is the most valued company. What I want to know now, how can we create, say 50 or 100 Vaijus or similar kind of companies, and India can lead the world in that format. The second thing is, as Sagarji mentioned, that so far e-learning is very famous and doing successfully in the competitive examination category, because it is a need. A lot of parents want their kids to go for IAS, UPSC, or all the competitive exams. So basically e-learning so far is replacing physical parallel education system, which we call coaching institutions. So basically e-learning is replacing the physical coaching institutions, but they cannot replace education institutions. In long run, I want to see that how e-learning can come in the higher education category with as much success and zeal that we see as they are replacing the competitive examination coaching centers. Yeah. So again, Jay, we can start with you.
Okay. Probably I'll take a bit different view here in terms of trying to come to the crux of the question and addressing it. So by and large, if you look at, there is a standard format of education that we have been taught and which we are passing on to from generation to generation. And that's what people have been adhering to and understanding also. Okay, so what is it that there is a formal form of education, K12 आप पढ़ो, उसके बाद 10+2+3 या 10+2+4 वाला एडुकेशन, एंड उसके बाद आपको और कुछ हायर एडुकेशन करनी हो तो आप कर लीजिएगा. उसके बीच में कुछ कोई कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम, सो मे बी आफ्टर योर +2 यू प्रिपेयर फॉर योर IITs, JEEs, NEETs, so on and so forth, or followed by that, maybe after a certain period, you may look at getting into a CAT or a civil service UPSC exam preparation and all of that. But by and large, all of this, what it leads us to is a formal form of education. And finally, it makes sure that we are looking at securing ourselves with certain degrees. So net, if you look at the Indian economy or the typical Indian mindset says that you secure your life with respect to certain degrees and qualification. कल को यही मतलब स्टैंडर्ड ये है, खुदा ना खास्ता कुछ ऊपर नीचे हो गया बेटा, आपके पास तो डिग्री है, कोई ना कोई नौकरी कहीं ना कहीं तो मिल जाएगी. But I think over a period, things would change, and things have already started changing. And given the COVID times, we have started seeing, even starting from young entrepreneurs to various entrepreneurs. A classic example I can take of no other country but in our India, Mr. Ritesh Agarwal, OYO के founder जो हैं. 16वां साल में उन्होंने पढ़ाई आधा अधूरा में छोड़ छाड़ के निकल पड़े अपने एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप जर्नी में. एंड he was supposed to he is supposed to be one of the youngest billionaire that India has produced, and he is a complete ground up person. Now what has happened is companies like Facebook's, LinkedIn's, Google's have clearly told that हमें डिग्री नहीं चाहिए, हमें स्किल सेट्स चाहिए, द राइट काइंड ऑफ माइंडसेट. सो व्हाट दे आर बेसिकली सेइंग इज स्किल कोई बड़ी इश्यू नहीं है. मतलब स्किल्स ऑटोमेटिकली आपको अगर इंटरेस्ट हो तो इट्स ऑल अबाउट विल. इफ यू हैव द राइट विल, आप प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट आपको जानी हो तो आपको कोई मोटा डिग्री होनी नहीं है. मतलब आईआईटी से आईआईएम की डिग्री नहीं चाहिए, but you can get it from starting from your unacademy to various edtech portals. You can look at deriving those skills, as well as there are multiple ways you can kind of get associated, do internship with some of the other edtech companies or some other, or associate with digital e-commerce companies and look at building their things and honing your skills. So net what it would come to is basically people starting to build their skills rather than focusing on mainstream degrees or things like that. So this is just my personal view, and I may have my own personal biases, but by and large, this is how the West has been kind of moving, and this is how India will also move given the changing scenario, because right now age is no limit, qualifications has no boundaries. There people are saying that हमें qualification की कोई फर्क ही नहीं है. All the Googles and Facebooks are saying that by and large is a clear cut indication that भैया आपके पास वो right skill sets, right mindset अगर हो तो then you have a long way to go. And people have to be open with respect to learning, and if they have an inclination or they want to go ahead and build their career in something, definitely they need to look at picking up those required skill sets rather than trying to build qualification after qualification. वो जमाना गया, पीछे 20 साल पहले हुआ करती थी. ठीक है, अब 4 डिग्री से एक आईआईटी के ऊपर एक आईआईएम और उसके ऊपर और कुछ, या मतलब उतना कर कुरा के आप आ गए तो कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में मजा करोगे. ठीक है, बट अभी वो नहीं रही. मतलब भले आपकी क्वालिफिकेशन हो, बट द वर्ल्ड हैज बिकम रियली competitive. People aren't so very bothered about the qualification. They are basically saying that, do you have it in you? Do you have the right attitude? Do you have the right aptitude? So maybe I looked at handling the entire question in a different manner, but by and large this is my thought process, and I definitely see that there is a sea change which would happen in terms of the approach and the way people will look at, because corporates have already started looking at things in a different way, and it's just matter of time wherein we need to kind of get out of that herd mentality and forget the rat race and kind of be a bit bold and say that ठीक है भाई, let's grow up, you know. मतलब enough of chasing degrees, qualifications. ठीक है, degrees, qualifications, nothing wrong about it, but it's just matter of time, because already we have seen, मतलब एक 12-14 साल का बच्चा unboxing करके he is making $22 million per annum. मतलब उनके पेरेंट्स का फुल लाइफ टाइम की सेविंग्स भी उतनी नहीं होगी, या उतने पैसे बनाए नहीं होंगे, ये बंदा एक साल में बना रहा है. So what I'm basically saying is there is so much of opportunities. Why are we stuck up in the rat race? So probably with that note, I will just it's food for thought for others also to think and start thinking in a different approach. I may be again I am saying that I may have my own personal way of looking at things.
That is appreciable. Now Sagarji, your perspective on the questions that I
Coming to the perspective that, as first of all, we'll like to share some benefits of e-learning. सबसे पहले मतलब it was like that if we are in the offline classroom, then we are learning among those 50 students or 100 students. We are competing among those 200 students that are in our classroom, or let us say that are in our city or somewhere like that. We come to know the mindset of those 50 or 100 students.
Hmm.
Come learning on the education platform like edtech platforms. There are students among all over the India. Some of the students are from abroad as well, but many times it happens like I get a message at 3:30 a.m. in the night, sir, can you please solve my doubt? So I told that student that can I please call you in the morning? So she said like, oh sir, sorry, I am staying in UAE. One of the students called me from US, so I'm staying in US. So what happens with that our students that are staying in a particular city or particular village are able to know the competition out there, are able to come in the contact with the different students. Like someone staying in Calcutta is able to know the person from Dehradun. Someone staying in Missouri is able to know the person from Telangana or somewhere. So we are connecting it globally like that. So usse kya hota hai? Like we are able to learn that how the people think in north, how people think in west, east, and south, and everywhere. This is the main and the foremost benefit. Another benefit is that they come to know to each other. They are able to connect. हमारे पास social media has great when we have Facebook, WhatsApp. We can connect like, है ना, we are able to be the friends. We are able to share the idea. Students are able to share the idea. Someone is having a startup idea, so he shared with someone, and now they both are working together. So one of my student is there. He is just 19, 20 years old, and he built a startup 5 to 6 months ago, and now he is generating a revenue of more than 7 lakh rupees a month. So
Wow.
that's the thing that students are able to explore, and not only that, he has able to won four times consecutive best idea award from the college and the inter college competition. So these are the things that happening right now due to the edtech. Another thing is that मैंने जैसे पहले बोला that we are able to save money for those middle class people that are not able to afford a lakh or 2 lakh or 3 lakh amount for their child's education. Now they are able to go for 30,000, 50,000, or somewhat like that, because the platforms are becoming cheaper. There is no entry barriers like in a class 50 can study, 400 can study, 300 can study. है ना, अगर हम लोग क्लासरूम में है, there's a capacity of 50 students, so we come to don't know those 50 only. Here there are 1,000, there are multiples. Okay. Another thing is that we come to know about the YouTube and as well. पहले YouTube का इतना craze नहीं था. Now major edtech is there on YouTube. An Academy is there on YouTube. Byju's is there on YouTube. Vedantu is there. YouTube पे आज आप कुछ भी डालो. You can learn everything, है ना? You can learn from cooking the egg to क्या बोलते हैं, unleashing the bicycle, garage, है ना, mechanism of the bicycle. You can learn anything. So this is the best part that we need to explore now. I'm sitting on YouTube. If I'm searching something, YouTube will suggest me something, and I get to know that part also. So this is the best part about the edtech, that we are able to explore as much as possible. पहले आज की डेट में नहीं होता था कि जैसे जय सर ने बोला था that students and the kids are mainly focused on the engineers or the doctors, which is nothing wrong. But in today's time, today's era, everyone is focusing on the different aspects that students are thinking. मैं अभी कुछ दिन पहले मुझे ही अपनी ही कॉलेज में बुलाया गया था to give a lecture on the startup and entrepreneurship as a guest lecture. So first year and second year students were having such innovative ideas. हम जब कॉलेज में थे तो we didn't knew कि भाई there is something like an entrepreneurship, or there is something like entrepreneurship or a startup or something like that. So this is how that has been evolved. And e-learning, believe me, e-learning is not going to be finished like COVID खत्म हो गया, e-learning is finished and everyone is rushing towards the offline. और COVID है या नहीं है तो offline एकदम से चालू हो गया, e-learning बंद हो गया, e-learning चालू है, offline एकदम से बंद हो गया. Now this is the part, this is the habit of the students that you can learn from anywhere, anytime. पहले क्या होता था कि मान लो कोई working professional है, so he or she is having a 9 to 5 job. अब 9 to 5 job के बाद, if you are going to a coaching center in the night, they can charge some as much as they want because they are teaching in night. They are charging 1.5x, 2x, 3x. But यहाँ पे क्या होता है? That fees is same for everyone. You learn at 2 a.m. in the morning, you learn 4 a.m. in the morning, you learn at 6 p.m. in the evening. That's same. So you can learn multiple times, Especially you can go for the recordings, live classes, live miss हो गया, चलो कल recording देख लिए, आज का record miss हो गया, परसों देख लेंगे, 2 बार देख लेंगे, 3 बार देख लेंगे, है ना? So that increases the efficiency of the educators as well. That increases the time of the educators as well that are learning on the platform, that are teaching on the platform. Yes, one part is also there that it has become work efficient manner, that educators आज की डेट में क्या होता था कि teachers are there. So teachers are were supposed to work for 9 to 5. Now teachers are working for 3 hours or 4 hours from the home or from wherever they want. They just need a laptop and a Wi-Fi and a camera. Now I can make this setup in Masuri, I can make this setup in Dehradun, and I can start my class from anywhere. Similarly, students can attend class from anywhere. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि मुझे क्लास में मैसेज आ गया, सर आई एम इन अ ट्रेन सो वोंट बी एबल टू कमेंट, आई विल लिसन टू द क्लास, I'm traveling in a bus but I listen to the class. So I'm at my nanny's place, I'm at my grandfather's place, but I listen to the class. So these are the some extraordinary benefits that edtech platforms has come up with, and I don't think so that it is going to vanish in a short period of time, but it is going to build up and more and more. If you Another part is that if you come to the top 10 edtechs of the global, I guess 3 or 4 are from India. One is the Byju's, one is an academy, and I guess Simply Learn is also there. So 2 or 3 are from the India, and we are happy for that. और जय सर ने एक और point add किया था, I will add on that also, that nowadays the companies are not demanding the degrees they are demanding, but they prefer more on skills like that. So there is one platform called Relevel. I guess it is owned by an academy only. So there is a platform called Relevel, जैसे Indeed है, Naukri.com, वैसे एक Relevel करके platform आया है market के अंदर. So what they do, they analyze you on your skills. किसी भी company में जाने से पहले first they interview you on the basis of your skills, that what skills do you have. They have different type of tests, they have different type of evaluations, and they set up your profile, and then they give it to the company demanding on the skills, that that particular person is suitable for your skills requirement, you can hire that. So that process has become somewhat easier, क्योंकि क्या होता है, कंपनीज ने हायर कर लिया, उसके बाद एम्प्लॉय इज नॉट सुटेबल, देन they need to again hire someone, HR cost, management cost, everything is saved. So this is what edtech and social media can do in the upcoming future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Indeed, a great pleasure listening to you. Couple of innovations or innovative companies or edtech companies which have been providing such beautiful and innovative products, which I think our viewers will be extremely delighted to know. And I think this discussion must continue in terms of how we can contribute, how at least we can create awareness about the edutech, innovators which are already there in the market. Now, I'll come to the concluding remarks from both of our speakers. We discussed at length on various perspectives, whether it is giving space for creativity or creative genius, then talking about innovative startups, how they are bringing unique value in the ecosystem. And now, your closing remarks and message for students, for parents, for teachers, for educators, for these edutech companies, what they should be careful about and in the future, and then for policymakers. Because in the entire ecosystem, we have realized that how blockchain kind of technology has gone beyond regulation or policy, or cryptocurrencies have gone beyond it, and it can disrupt the market in a completely different way. Similarly, till now, there is no regulation or policy framework for media companies as well as digital media companies as well as the edutech companies in a comprehensive sense. So what would be your message to all of these stakeholders? So starting with Jay.
Okay, fine. So really glad to hear both your thoughts, especially Sagar's input in terms of the various avenues that are opening up as well as how things are kind of changing. So I would like to kind of conclude by saying that the e-learning post-pandemic, especially, it's though it will kind of have its own challenges, or it will take its own time in terms of opening up with respect to the blend of offline and online. But one thing is there, the it has been unleashed with respect to the online avenues opening up, and there is no going back, and it is just going to kind of improvise further, as well as further new avenues going to kind of open up. And I'm sure that there is enough and more of disruption which is going to happen in the edtech space the way right now. Probably this is a very forward looking thought, the way we have qualifications being given out, the way 10th ka certificate gaya, 12th ka certificate gaya, going forward, probably in all likelihood it would be, if somebody comes up with an assessment platform with respect to various skill sets, you know, and those skill sets in terms of real practical skill sets, if that can be assessed, that would be one great disruptor out there in the market. And provided the industry is ready to accept saying that bhai इनका सर्टिफिकेशन अगर हो तो मतलब आप खरे उतरे हो, you are in a scale of say 1 to 10, आप इतने में हो तो then you qualify for just better qualified job, or probably ये मतलब I'm just thinking out loud. So and I have my gut feel that that is something which can probably happen in the near future. And more than the qualifications and all of that, I would suggest that people start looking at and focusing on their interest levels and something which they would be more interested and inclined towards. कल को वेरी सिंपल, फोटोग्राफी अगर आपको पसंद हो, बकायदा कायदे से आप फोटोग्राफी करो, द वर्ल्ड एट लार्ज इज रेडी टू एक्सेप्ट यू. सोशल मीडिया में आप डालिए, यूट्यूब यूज कीजिएगा, आपके ऑल द टिकटॉक्स और आई डोंट नो व्हाट इट इज. So wherever whosoever is ready to kind of accept that talent, I'm sure that with open arms they will embrace you, they will embrace your talent. So it's just matter of showcasing. पहले मतलब talent को showcase करना itself is used to be a very big thing. बहुत पैसे जरूरत होती हुआ करती थी, मतलब बड़े शहरों में आप जाओ, आप एग्जीबिशंस लगाओ, आप एक बड़े से प्लेटफॉर्म आपको होनी थी. मतलब आज के डेट में अगर किसको अपनी एक्टिंग स्किल्स करनी थी तो पहले एक बॉलीवुड जैसा मतलब प्लेटफॉर्म होना था. लेकिन आज के डेट में आपके पास एक मोबाइल हैंडसेट है, आप बकायदा आप अपना टैलेंट्स आप दिखाओ. कल को अगर इफ यू आर रियली वर्थ इट, probably there might be a lot of other like media houses to whatnot who would be ready to kind of sponsor and go ahead and take you up and maybe look at utilizing your skills. So I just took acting as one random example, but it can be anything and everything, you know. And you need not kind of run after qualifications is what my final concluding word would be, because the world, the pace at which the world is changing, nobody had ever dreamt or thought of that a pandemic of such a huge vast nature would come. But yes, definitely people who have been able to sail through, we have been able to kind of cope up and understand that we need to constantly keep on changing. And what I would suggest is, if we are able to visualize that change, and accordingly let's pull up our socks and make sure that we are trying to be ahead of the curve that we are following, you know. So that's my concluding remarks. Thank you so very much. Over to you, Akram.
Thank you. Sagarji, your closing remarks.
Coming to the close up, that I would just like Vijay sir, I would suggest to all the upcoming youth and everyone whosoever is our bright future of the India and a globe as well, that focus on something what you like doing and not on what everyone else is doing. Because if everyone else is doing that, then how would you come up with something different? So come up with something that is your skill, that is your best part. It's not like that you have to excel in something. It's just like that, give your best in something and forget about the results. Don't think about what are the results. Think about what you can do, and I assure you 500% with the guarantee that 100% you will get some results. Definitely you will get results. So focus on something, focus on just like what is your best part, what you can do at the best. Just like MS Dhoni is the biggest example. He focused on something that what he could do the best. So just it's like that, what you could do the best, focus on that. And yes, e-learnings can be the future of the India. Artificial intelligence can be the future of the learning as well. And thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Really great to hear both of you and different perspectives that you shared. So, viewers, if you like the discussion like this, do subscribe and watch the Policy Times. Policy Time has simply one mission. Through our activities, we want to make India thought leader of the world. We may not be a manufacturing hub like China, but we can be the thought leader, but by uniquely positioning ourselves in the service sectors, as service is our strength. All the points that we discussed, blending is certainly going to be the future mode of education. Disruption, the next 10 to 15 years, because artificial intelligence and 5G are on the way, and then blockchain technology coming into the picture. Disruption is the only new phenomena. We should not be afraid of it. We just simply need to learn, adapt, and grow with it. So all these startups, or whether they are in the education or not, on in other sectors, we need to accept disruption as part of the change. As change is the only thing but constant, as we believe in the phenomena. Skilling and mindset, as JG has briefed, that skill is the most important factor, not your degree anymore. So it is not degree which will make us billionaires, millionaires, or successful people, but definitely we also need that kind of formal education since we live in nation and under the policy and regulation boundary. The one important thing which Sagar mentioned, which is very important, but also a little clarity on that is important, just like on the startup front. As we often say, 95% startups die. That word is actually little, it has a dichotomy or dual meaning in it. So startups may die, not the entrepreneur. Entrepreneur will find another route to survive. He will have another venture. He will do something else, but his venture may die. So it does not mean that the person who started the venture will also die along with the venture. The same thing is true. Focus on what you like and can do. This thing has a very dual meaning in it. So someone coming from a very poor background, academic as well as experiential background, having no knowledge about any sector, but if he starts thinking, focus on what you like, he does not have any exposure into anything. So he is not in a position to decide what is good for him and what does he like. So what we need to think and do, we first need enough exposure into many fields. And that only comes when you work with companies. So when you work with a manufacturing, when you work with the service sector, when you work with IT and various diverse profile, then only you generate the kind of basic experience that which one you actually like. If you don't have any experience in any field, you cannot make a decision of what you like. So my point on this front is also, let us have at least a deep experience and understanding about various fields. So thank you.